You do not underestimate a modern army. For decades, that was the unshakable truth drilled into every U.S. soldier, every staff officer, and every general. Across the globe, American intelligence assessed the North Korean People's Army as ill-equipped, poorly trained, and incapable of executing coordinated attacks against professional forces. The assumption was simple: superior weapons, superior organization, superior training. Victory was a matter of routine. In June 1950, across the 38th parallel, U.S. forces assumed the same. The maps suggested an easy pushback. The briefings promised minor resistance. Confidence was absolute, bordering on arrogance. But in that sweltering summer, one day, one moment, shattered everything. You are First Lieutenant Charles L. Kelly, 24, a West Point graduate turned foxhole leader in the 24th Infantry Division. You've trained relentlessly, fought simulated battles with precision, and led men who trust your judgment without question. You've memorized the terrain of South Korea, studied enemy tactics, and prepared for a border skirmish. It is June 25, 1950. Across the line, the North Korean army moves with terrifying coordination. Thousands of troops, armed with T-34 tanks and Soviet-supplied artillery, pour across the river in a wave of steel and determination. The morning sun glints off their armor, and your intelligence reports, once trusted, feel suddenly inadequate. Your men, young and raw, look to you for guidance. The North Koreans have momentum, initiative, and a plan that defies every assumption you were taught. And as you stand in the mud-soaked trenches of Osan, you realize that the conventional rules do not apply here. You give the order: hold positions, do not fall back. Tanks roar across the ridges, their 76mm guns cutting through your defensive positions. The first shell lands 1,500 yards away. The ground shakes. 1,200 yards, 900 yards, 600. Your men fire rifles, mortars, every piece of artillery at your disposal. The explosions roar. The North Koreans do not flinch. A T-34 emerges from the haze. Its tracks grind through dirt and stone. You aim the bazooka. It fires. The missile strikes the side armor. Sparks, smoke, but the tank keeps moving. Your men open fire with machine guns, rifles, grenades. Dozens of bullets bounce off the thick steel. Corpses and debris litter the trenches. Screams mix with the roar of engines. You feel the heat, the dust, the sweat running into your eyes. The enemy cavalry, infantry, and armor coordinate with terrifying precision. For every yard you gain, they push back too. A radio crackles. Lieutenant Kelly, report. Situation. You swallow. We're holding, but barely. 45% mark mid-roll CTA. If you find this kind of forgotten military history as fascinating as we do, we'd be honored if you'd hit that subscribe button. We believe these stories of courage and sacrifice deserve to be told, and by subscribing, you help us ensure they aren't forgotten. Back in the foxholes, ammunition dwindles. Orders from higher command are delayed or contradictory. North Korean soldiers surround your flank. One T-34 barrel swings directly toward your position. 300 yards, 200, 100. You give the order,
Fire everything. Focus on the engine. The shell hits. The tank slows, then stalls. A cheer rises, short-lived, as another T-34 rumbles forward. Your men, terrified but determined, reload, fire, maneuver. You move between foxholes, shouting orders, dragging wounded to safety. Time stretches. The morning becomes noon, noon becomes dusk. Every heartbeat is a calculus of survival. Every second the enemy adapts. Their discipline shocks you. Their resolve terrifies you. This is the moment U.S. forces realize North Korea is a different beast. Not a poorly trained militia, not an disorganized army, a tactical, coordinated, merciless force capable of inflicting staggering losses against even seasoned units.
1,500 yards, 1,200 yards, 900, 600, 300. You count again and again. Your men survive barely. The battalion suffers hundreds of casualties. Yet somehow, through grit, determination, and split-second decisions, you hold a line long enough to delay the enemy and allow reinforcements to arrive. What they didn't know was that this early resistance, costly as it was, bought critical time for the United Nations command to reorganize. The North Korean army, while aggressive, underestimated American resilience and tactical ingenuity. Commanders in Pyongyang were stunned by pockets of resistance that refused to crumble. Across the peninsula, news of the Osan defense spread. Reports described a small group of U.S. soldiers, barely equipped, holding their ground against superior armor and numbers. The Korean War would become a bloody stalemate, but those initial moments shaped the entire strategy of the UN forces. Commanders revised tactics, reinforcements poured in, logistics, intelligence, and artillery support adapted. The psychological effect on both sides was profound. The myth of rapid conquest was shattered. For the first time, the world saw that North Korea's apparent overconfidence could be checked, but only through sacrifice and grit. Lieutenant Charles L. Kelly survived that first chaotic day, though many of his men did not. He continued to lead with bravery. His actions later cited in military analyses of early Korean War battles. To this day, the defense at Osan is studied for lessons in underestimation, adaptive tactics, and the raw human courage that can shape history. If this story moved you, please hit that like button. Every click tells the algorithm this piece of history is worth remembering. We're dedicated to rescuing these forgotten stories from the archives. If you want to join us on this mission, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Where are you watching from? Drop a comment with your city or state and tell us if someone in your family served. Thank you for ensuring Lieutenant Charles L. Kelly and the men of the 24th Infantry Division do not disappear into silence. They deserve to be remembered.